The crack of Jessica's palm against my cheek echoed through LAX Terminal 4 like a gunshot. 200 strangers froze mid-stride, their conversations dying as phones lifted to capture the moment. The metallic taste of blood filled my mouth as my vision blurred, not from tears, but from the stunning realization that my parents were rushing toward us to blame me, not comfort me. They had no idea I'd just funded their entire Hawaii vacation. They had no idea that in 5 minutes I'd make a decision that would leave them stranded and every witness in that terminal speechless. My name is Rose, I'm 28, and I'm a marketing analyst who spent most of her life being invisible. This is the story of how I finally made them see me. Growing up in our Beverly Hills house, roles were carved in stone. Jessica was the spark, dramatic, emotional, the daughter who could make my parents laugh with a single eye roll. I was the foundation, steady, reliable, the one who fixed problems without being asked. When Jessica cried, I dried her tears. When she messed up, I cleaned up. When anything needed to be done, they didn't even look at Jessica. They turned to me with that expectant smile, the one that said, "Rose will handle it." I told myself it was love, but somewhere around year 25 of being the invisible daughter, the cracks started showing. 3 months ago, over Sunday dinner, Jessica clinked her champagne glass and announced, "I'm treating everyone to Hawaii." Mom gasped like she'd won the lottery. Dad immediately called his golf buddy to brag about his generous daughter. Jessica caught my eye across the table, mouthed thank you, and smiled like we shared a private joke. Except the joke was on me. As always. For weeks, I planned everything. Flights, hotels, rental cars, excursions, premium seats because Dad's back hurts, ocean view rooms because Jessica needed space, 5-star restaurants because we deserved to celebrate. Every confirmation email hit my account. Every charge appeared on my credit card. But every compliment went to Jessica. Standing in that airport terminal, coffee trembling in my hand, I'd been hoping this trip might finally change things. Maybe being away together would soften the edges. Maybe we could actually enjoy something as a family. I was catastrophically wrong. "What did you do to her, Rose?" Dad's voice cut through the terminal chaos before he even looked at my swelling cheek. Jessica buried her face in Mom's shoulder, her voice trembling on cue. "She's been ruining the trip all week. I can't take it anymore." The lie slid out so smoothly it barely surprised me anymore. What shocked me was watching my parents accept it instantly. Mom stroked Jessica's hair while glaring at me over her shoulder. "Why can't you just let your sister enjoy herself?" And there it was, our family script, performed for a terminal full of strangers. But standing there, surrounded by phone cameras and whispered conversations, something different happened. Instead of the usual shame spiraling through my chest, I felt something cold and sharp click into place. Clarity. The graduation party flooded back. Jessica barely passing high school while I quietly paid $2,000 for decorations so she could have the celebration just like everyone else. She'd given a speech thanking Mom and Dad for everything. Everyone applauded. I stood by the grill, holding burgers, smiling like it didn't matter. The apartment 2 years later. Jessica twirling through empty rooms with keys I'd enabled her to get by, co-signing when her credit wouldn't qualify her for a cardboard box. She'd posted on Instagram about being finally independent, never mentioned my name. The engagement ring, $5,000 I'd lent her for the boyfriend who eventually left. She kept the ring, never paid me back, never even brought it up again. That relationship ended 8 months ago when he finally saw through her act, but she still wears the ring on her right hand like a trophy. And this moment, this public humiliation in front of 200 strangers, all because I'd quietly funded another family memory that Jessica would claim as her gift. "Apologize," Dad commanded, stepping between us like a referee. "Do it properly." My cheek throbbed, but I swallowed the familiar response. "I didn't do anything." "Rose." His voice dropped to that disappointed tone he'd perfected over 28 years. "You made your sister cry. Fix it." I looked at Jessica, mascara perfectly streaked like she'd practiced, and felt that cold clarity sharpen into something diamond hard. Nothing I'd done for 3 decades had ever balanced the scale. Not the money, not the silence, not the endless fixing. And if I kept playing their script, I would disappear completely. "I need a minute," I whispered. Dad waved dismissively. "Fine, but don't wander off. Boarding is soon." Jessica sniffed dramatically. "Just keep her away from me." Keep me away, like I was the danger. I walked toward the restrooms slowly, like someone steadying herself after a blow she never saw coming. But with each step, the trembling stopped. By the time I reached a quiet corner near the vending machines, my hands were steady. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. Every confirmation stared back at me. Flights, hotel, rental car, tours, my name, my card, my payments, and an idea, quiet and perfectly legal, crystallized in my mind. I opened the airline app and dialed customer service. "How can I help you today?" a calm voice answered. "I need to cancel 3 tickets from a reservation," I said, my voice steady as stone. "3 tickets?" "Yes, keep only the one under Rose Morrison." "Understood, there will be cancellation fees, but since the payment originated from your account, the travel credit returns to you." "Perfect. Go ahead." With a series of clicks, the balance of power in my family shifted for the first time in 28 years. Next came the hotel. I'd like to modify my reservation, change it to 1 room, 1 guest. Then the rental car. Downgrade to a compact single driver. Every call made me lighter. Every refund felt like pieces of my soul returning home. When I walked back toward Gate 76, my family looked peaceful. Jessica scrolling her phone, Mom organizing her purse, Dad reading news. They'd already forgotten the storm they'd created. I stepped into their line of vision. "I'm heading to my gate now." Mom looked confused. "This is your gate." "Not anymore." Jessica's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" "You're not going to Hawaii," I said simply. Jessica laughed, sharp and disbelieving. "Stop being dramatic, Rose." I turned my phone screen toward them, showing the cancellation confirmation. "I canceled your tickets, all 3 of them." The silence was immediate and total. Dad shot up. "You what?" Jessica snatched my phone, reading the confirmation like it was written in hieroglyphics. No, this isn't. Why would you do this? I booked this trip." "You didn't," I said quietly. "I did. Every part of it." Mom's voice trembled. "Rose, this isn't funny." "Check with the airline if you don't believe me." Dad immediately called, his voice firm as he recited the confirmation code to the agent. Jessica hovered beside him, shaking her head, muttering, "She's lying." But when the agent confirmed only 1 remaining passenger, me, Jessica's face collapsed. Dad lowered the phone slowly. "How could you do this to us?" I looked at him, really looked, and asked back, "How many times have you watched her lie and blamed me for it? How many times have you praised her for things I paid for? How many times have you asked me to stay quiet to keep the peace?" "We didn't mean," Mom started. "Yes, you did," I interrupted. "You believed her without question. You didn't even look at my face after she hit me. You just took her side because that's what you always do." Jessica's performance cracked. "Rose, please, I didn't mean—" "You meant every part of it," I said. "And I meant this." I showed them the hotel refund, the rental modification, the tour cancellations, their vacation dissolving 1 confirmation at a time. Dad's face went red. "You think this makes you the hero?" "No," I answered. "It makes me free." The boarding announcement chimed overhead. "Now boarding Group A for Honolulu." My group. Dad stepped in front of me. "If you walk through that gate, don't expect to come back." I looked at him without flinching, without folding, without shrinking. "I'm not the one who left. You did that a long time ago." I stepped around him. No one stopped me this time. The gate agent scanned my ticket and said quietly, "Rough day?" I smiled. "Getting better." Walking down the jet bridge, the weight lifted from my chest with every step. Through my window seat, I watched my family in the terminal. Jessica pacing frantically, Mom crying into her hands, Dad arguing with a gate agent like he could force reality back into the shape he wanted. They looked lost, like actors who'd forgotten their lines when someone finally rewrote the script. Hawaii was everything I'd dreamed it could be. The ocean stretched endlessly blue, making me feel both small and infinite. I snorkeled, hiked, ate alone without apologizing. My phone buzzed constantly, calls, texts, voicemails cycling through anger, manipulation, and eventual desperation. I silenced all of it. On my flight home, I found a letter waiting at my apartment. My parents had written pages, admitting the favoritism, acknowledging the blind spots, apologizing for 28 years of taking me for granted. I read it twice, then placed it gently in a drawer. I wasn't ready to respond, but for the first time in my life, the choice was entirely mine. 6 months later, Jessica called. She'd been evicted and needed money. The old Rose would have transferred funds immediately. The new Rose listened to her sob story and said, "That sounds really hard. I'm sure you'll figure it out." I hung up and didn't lose a minute of sleep. I've learned that peace doesn't come from keeping quiet. It comes from finally choosing yourself. My family may never change, but I'm no longer carrying the weight of their choices. Setting that boundary wasn't cruel. It was survival. If this story feels familiar, you're not alone. Sometimes the people who should protect us are the ones who need protecting from us the most. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if you want more real family stories like this, hit subscribe so you never miss the next one. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.